As many of you know, I am the Children's Ministry Director here at St. Matthew's. And in Sunday school, we do a lot of wondering. So today, I invite you to suspend what you already know about the gospel reading and instead wonder with it. We will begin with a godly place story that took place just before today's gospel reading, and it'll end at the Last Supper. We will then continue with Judas leaving and allow our imaginations to guide us through the rest of the story. And I would like to invite all of the children to come up and sit around with me just like we do in Sunday school, so please come on up. Good morning. Thank you for coming. Jesus and the 12 went into the upper room. Jesus gathered the 12 around the table. After the disciples were gathered and they had had everything they had wanted to eat, Jesus did something kind of strange. Jesus took a loaf of bread. He gave thanks to God for it. He broke it, and he shared it with the 12. He said something like, "This is my body. When you share the bread like this, I will be with you." Then he took a cup of wine, he blessed it, he shared it with the 12. And he said something like, "This is my blood. When you share the wine like this, I will be with you." I wonder how strange those words must have sounded to the disciples. I wonder if you can remember the very first time that you heard those words. I wonder if they sounded strange to you too. Yeah. The disciples, they didn't quite understand, but they did not forget. That's one of my favorite things about the disciples. They were so close to Jesus, but there were many times when they didn't quite understand. Sometimes they knew right away that they didn't understand. Sometimes they thought they understood, only to realize, I don't really understand. I wonder if you ever feel like that, not quite understanding. After Judas had gone out, Jesus said something like, "Little children, I am with you only a little longer. Where I am going, you cannot come." I wonder how scary that must have sounded to the disciples who loved Jesus so much. I wonder if those words had been scary for Jesus to have to say to his friends. Then Jesus said, "I give you a new commandment." I wonder if the disciples all held their breath in fear. What was Jesus going to ask of them? After all, they knew God had asked some hard things of people in the past, and already they had given so much to follow Jesus. They had left everything behind. What would Jesus ask of them now? Would they be up for the task? Jesus said, "I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another." I wonder if they all breathed a huge sigh of relief upon hearing this. Surely this was a task they could do. This might actually be easy. Through some trial and error on their part, they already knew what not to do. Do not turn little children away in order to make room for people you think are more important. Do not call fire down from heaven to destroy those who reject you. Do not play the who's the greatest game with each other. They didn't just know what not to do. They had spent day after day after day following Jesus. They had been witness to love in action. It looked something like seeing those who had been dismissed to the shadows. It looked like feeding, like healing. It looked like forgiveness and justice. Perhaps while Jesus spoke this commandment, their feet were still tingling from that astounding moment that had happened just hours before, when Jesus had knelt before them and taught them the meaning of greatness. I give you a new commandment, to love one another. Surely the disciples were up for this task. This is what they had been preparing for. I wonder if you have ever prepared for something big. Maybe you were acting in a play. Maybe you were doing a talent show that you had to sing at. Maybe you trained at a particular sport and you couldn't wait for the big game. I wonder if that's how the disciples heard the commandment to love, like a coach giving a big rallying cry to go out and love. I wonder if that's how Jesus delivered the commandment, like a coach who had created a new playbook, excited for his team to go out and execute it. I wonder if instead, knowing that he was about to die, that he would have to leave them, I wonder if, like Teresa of Avila would later say, Jesus knew his disciples would soon be his hands, his feet in the world. I wonder if instead, Jesus delivered the commandment more like a plea. I will only be with you a little longer. Where I'm going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment. Love one another. I wonder how you imagine Jesus delivering this commandment to love. After he gave the commandment, Jesus continued speaking to the disciples. He was trying to prepare them for what was about to come. He spoke of an advocate who would always be with them. Again, the disciples, they did not quite understand. I wonder where you go when you don't understand something. Who do you ask for help? Maybe a parent? Who do you ask?
My mom.
Your mom.
And sometimes God.
Oh, that's wonderful that you turn to God. Yeah, maybe people turn to moms, dads, God, a teacher, maybe a podcast or a YouTube video. Later that night, Jesus and the disciples left the upper room. And Jesus was taken from the disciples. He was arrested and he was killed. The disciples were not ready for this. Jesus had been trying to prepare them for it, but maybe they hadn't really been listening. Or maybe there just is no preparing for that kind of loss. Jesus had given them this commandment to love, but loving no longer felt so easy. So instead, some of the disciples came back to the room and they hid. I wonder why they chose this place for retreat. I wonder if you too have ever lost someone, have ever worried that you wouldn't quite remember the way they smelled, their voice, their warmth, their love. I wonder if amid the disciples' fears and sadness, those strange words that Jesus had spoken started to turn in their heads. And perhaps whether it was in their minds or their souls, they began to remember this place of the bread and the wine, and they couldn't help but run back to that table. Perhaps they couldn't help being drawn back in their sadness to that place of love. Somewhere else, On a road to Emmaus, 2 of the disciples were walking. And although Jesus had died and they were sad, he appeared to them. He walked with them. But they didn't recognize him at first. Even though they were walking and speaking with him, it wasn't until they sat down and Jesus took a bread, gave thanks to God for it, and shared it with them that their eyes were opened and they recognized him. What was it about this bread, this wine? There was love here. There was remembering here. Jesus didn't just visit the 2 disciples on the road. Jesus came to the disciples who were hiding here. They appeared in front of him, and maybe they worried that Jesus would be angry with them for not going out and loving like they had promised to do. But Jesus didn't get angry with them. He said, stay. He told them, stay here, stay in Jerusalem. He told them something big was coming. He told them it would be a gift from the Father, an advocate, a comforter, a sustainer who would come to them. In a couple of weeks, we will celebrate that this gift did come. This gift that gave the disciples to go out into the world and spread the message of love. A love that 2,000 years later still brings people back to this table. I wonder where you are in this story. I wonder if you have ever come close to this table. I wonder if you have ever been away from the table for a while. I wonder if you felt that gentle pull nudging you back to it. Like the disciples, not quite understanding, but feeling that stir inside of you, inviting you back to the place that your mind didn't understand, but that your heart understood. Something is happening here. I wonder if you have received the message of love, have come to the table to be renewed and refueled, and are excited to take what you have received and become that message of love. I wonder if you come to this table weary, like the disciples had once been weary. I wonder if you too need a little more time at this table. If you need to remain in God's love until you can hear his message, hope is coming. Before Jesus left, he gave a new commandment, that we love one another. But Jesus did not leave us alone in this commandment. He gave us a place that we could come back to receive love, to be nourished, to remember. And we have the Spirit who goes out with us and walks the way of love alongside of us. And for that, we give thanks to God. Amen. Thank you. You may go back to your parents, and soon you'll be coming back.